Well, we get it rolling on the Krug Show, live from Levi's Stadium after the 49ers beat the Saints in preseason game number 2. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And also this live stream brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Call my friend Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. Well, the 49ers get the win. Welcome to the Krug Show. Kev's in the house, back at the mothership. The great Dan Coach Emilio with the standings listed behind him there, baseball hat style. And the great Ryan Smith, who's joining us as well. And JD will join us. No Baller tonight. No D Bruce. He's got something with the kids going, so we'll surge forward without those guys. But guys, give me your takeaway from the game. The Niners got the win. There were no significant injuries, knock on wood, at least that I've heard reported. And there were a lot of good things in this game to point to. What jumped out at you guys? Don't all go at once.
Well, I'll just say this. Two things that stuck out to me was the porous defensive line for the 49ers of the Saints just running through them. And then the performance of Josh Dobbs. He looked good. He looked really good.
I thought Dobbs looked good too.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go negative, I would say the interior of the 49ers defensive line was just, I thought it was atrocious.
Defensive line or offensive line?
Defensive line. I thought their defensive line was just atrocious today. They ran for 5 yards a carry at halftime. And on the other side of the ball, Cody Schrader didn't look that exciting. He was running for 2-1 a carry. 2-1 a carry. In his 2 games, he has 12 carries for 21 yards, 1.75 yards per carry. So he was a little bit of disappointment, but I thought besides that, there was a lot of positive. Cowing looked really great today.
Yeah.
You said Dobbs. Dobbs looked great today. Defensively, I thought Tatum Bethune, he had I think he led the team in tackles last week. He did it again this week.
8 last week, 10 this week.
Ronaldo Green had some good coverage. So
yeah. Luter too. Luter looked pretty good too.
And my new favorite player to watch right now is Curtis Robinson. I just think he's so much faster and so much stronger than I ever remember him seeing last year. And he's making plays. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, he looked really good. I mean, it made me think that the Niners with him and Jalen Graham, they may be okay if they have to move on from Greenlaw after this year.
What do you guys think of Graham? I thought Graham was all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, Graham looked good. I thought hold on here. I'm getting a phone call. There we go. Turn it off.
All the linebackers, I just thought, if you look at Tatum Bethune, Jalen Graham, Curtis Robinson, if you said what's standing out, about the 49ers in the preseason, it's that even without Dre Greenlaw, they seem to be well fortified at linebacker. I mean, they just have a lot of guys. They got a good eye for linebackers. Bethune did not run a great 40 time by any measure. I think his number might have been in the 4.8s, but you know what? He's instinctive and he knows where to go. He knows how to flow naturally to the football. And I just thought if there was one part of this game, it's always hard to evaluate the preseason anyway, but Tatum Bethune, 10 tackles, 6 solo, tackle for a loss. Jalen Graham, 6 tackles, 4 solo. He had a sack. He had a tackle for a loss. And then you go look at Curtis Robinson. He had 4 tackles and a tackle for a loss. I mean, Flanagan Fowles had 3 tackles. I mean, I thought the linebackers, Devondre Campbell had a couple nice stops. So I thought overall, considering no Greenlaw, Niner linebackers look pretty good. And Bethune just is like that, the kind of guy that, to me, it's really going to come down to probably Bethune against Demetrius Flanagan Fowles for that one spot, at linebacker. I mean, I just think that
Bethune.
Yeah, I would take Bethune too. In fact, I was talking to somebody before the game, and I said, overall, when I started looking at the position battles, I think I would just go with the rookies. Like, I would go with Tanner Mordecai over Dobbs at quarterback. I would go with Garendo and Schrader over, Breida, Patrick Taylor, Keyshawn Vaughn. I would go with Mason Pline, who I did talk to again in the locker room after this one. I'd go with Mason Pline over as the third tight end. He's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? I think across the board, I would plug and play Dominic Pooney at guard. Evan Anderson was not very impressive tonight at defensive tackle. I'm not sure if he's going to be the answer. And I don't think the Niners have their fifth defensive end on this roster. I just didn't see it tonight from Garvin or Alex Barrett. Bosa, Floyd, Gross Matos, Beal. Those are your, 1 through 4 defensive ends. They need one more. But I think at linebacker, it's going to be 6, and it's going to be Fred Warner, Devondre Campbell, D. Winters, Jalen Graham. So you got 4 right there. Curtis Robinson, I think, undoubtedly is going to make it. So that's 5. So it really comes down to are you going to go with Tatum Bethune or Demetrius Flanagan Fowles? And I think I'd rather go with Bethune. What do you guys think?
My 49ers depth chart takes are pretty flaccid right now, I must admit. I don't really have the most scorching takes coming out of these preseason games. I haven't been quite as locked in as I normally am. I figure I'm just going to kind of cram here at the end. But I will say I thought Dobbs looked fantastic in that number 5. He had some great aura out there. So it was kind of, at times he looks a little bit like Trey Lance, and it's like he was kind of doing exactly what you'd hope from Trey Lance, scampering around. Brock Purdy, it's whatever, it's whatever. It's not great that things didn't work out so great with the crappy weapons and the O-line a little bit sketch. Thought Pooney looked great. And I got to admit, I was watching a lot of the Broncos game as well. I found it a little more interesting.
How'd they look?
They dominated. Right?
They look fantastic. Yeah. They look great. I think Bo Nix,
Caleb
Caleb
Nix looks good.
Bo Nix is my guy. I already put a bet on him to win Rookie of the Year. I think everyone's going to be on Caleb, and he's going to have the flashy plays, but I think Bo Nix is the guy.
Bo Nix does look good.
I don't know if you guys saw this play. I didn't see it until I saw it on Twitter, but Guy Haberman tweeted it out. It's Pooney. Look at this block from Pooney.
Here, wait, I got to see it. Hold on a second.
Okay, I'll restart it. You seeing it?
Wait a second. We make the full screen. Okay, go ahead. Where is he? He's on the right side.
You see that? He wrapped around. I've never seen an offensive lineman do that. He
wait. Can you wait? I can't. I'm not seeing this.
It's jumping too fast.
It's a little bit like the Zapruder film going on.
He's on the inside, right?
I see 2 shooters on the grassy knoll.
Oh, okay. I see it.
You see him right here on the bottom right?
Yeah. Okay.
Around.
Yeah.
It's nice
there
play.
he is.
It's good movement by him.
Did he do a flip?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
He did a 360.
360. Okay.
Oh, dude, they're gonna be absolutely giving him absolute grief about that tomorrow. You can't do a 360 as an offensive lineman.
Yeah, where'd he go? Where'd he go?
Hey, it worked. It worked, man.
That is just there's gonna be some S talked in that film session tomorrow. Because he got the block, but he's doing a pirouette. It's a freaking pirouette.
That's great.
He looks good, by the way. And John Lynch went on KMBR, my new radio home, by the way. Thank you for all of you who supported the Krug Show. The Krug Show is going nowhere, by the way. People are asking me, what's going on with your YouTube channel now that you're on KMBR? You know what? Nothing's going on with the YouTube channel. We're going to stay right here and do the same thing with the same people that we've always done. And, who do I want to have on after these Niner games? I want to have Matt Miyoko and Matt Barrows, and they're not available. So I go with I'm just joking. I want to have Dan Cochimilio and Rye Smith and Kevin Edward Kruger. I want to have my guys. I want to have my guys. Yeah, I can have a Lombardi. I can have a Cone. I can get the coach in here. I can have, all kinds of, highfalutin whatevers. But you know what? I don't want that. I want Dan Cochimilio with baseball caps. I want Rye with Ringo nearby. I want, Kev Kruger with a full head of hair, just saying I will not get a haircut, and I don't plan to get a haircut anytime soon.
Dang,
I asked Kev. Because my other kid's getting a haircut. I said, "You want a haircut?" He's like, "No." I just looked at him. What a great life, you know. You just got a full head of hair. Do you want to get a haircut? No, I don't. I really don't. I'm just going to let it grow. So anyway, thanks for joining us on the Krug Show, and we're going to be doing lots of Niner content on the Krug Show. And then, of course, if you're a Krug Show fan, check me out on the radio. Starting Labor Day from 6 to 7 p.m., we're going to do a full hour on the Niners every night on the radio called Niners Nightly. We'll do player interviews, coaching interviews, calls, content creators. Who knows? Maybe we'll even rekindle this quad box on one of the KMBR shows. But we'll have a lot of fun. We'll talk a lot of Niners, and we'll hit it every single night, and it'll be highly credible. So please join me on that starting in September on Labor Day. John Seamus saying, Larry saving KMBR.
I think you got to go back to your comment where you said you would keep Mordecai over Dobbs. I mean,
yeah, let's go back to
what's the thinking on that one? I'm not seeing that, especially after today. Dobbs looked great. I mean, his movement looked great. The balls looked great. I mean,
he got rid of it
Mordecai
quick too.
Did look good. I thought Mordecai.
I don't know if I would say Dobbs looked great. He looked really better in this game than he looked in practice.
He definitely got rid of the ball quickly when he needed to, when the guys were open on the flat, or I like.
But here's the question: it's not just a talent question; it's also a financial question. Dobbs is going to make $2.25 million. I believe it's fully guaranteed, so it is going to be paid out. It's a sunk cost either way.
How about Allen? How much is Allen going to make?
Allen's making a little bit more than that. I think he's making $5 million. So I think Allen beats Dobbs for the number 2 quarterback job. Now, maybe I'm wrong by saying that, but that's my read on it. Just from having been to the camp every day and watching the first 2 preseason games, I kind of like Allen a little bit more than Dobbs. I think Dobbs has played well, but the question is this: the Niners they have 7 really good corners. Do they try to keep all their 7? They're gonna probably need to take an extra offensive lineman. If Pearsall and Cowing, you're not going to put those guys out for the year, so you may have to take an extra receiver. My point is just that they, Garendo and with Garendo in the backfield, they may have taken extra running back. They may need a roster spot, and they may decide that they want to go with 2 quarterbacks, with the 3rd quarterback being cut on the 27th of August, slipping through waivers and placed on the practice squad. So if the Niners want 3 quarterbacks on the active roster, then I think it's probably going to be Purdy and Allen and Dobbs. But if they want 3 quarterbacks and 2 on the active roster and 1 on the practice squad, then I think it's probably more likely that, who's more likely to slip through waivers unclaimed, Josh Dobbs or Tanner Mordecai? I would say tonight it's probably Tanner Mordecai is more likely to slip through waivers. I think Dobbs is more likely to get claimed. What do you guys think? Do you agree with that, or do you think that Mordecai? The Niners have had a good eye on young quarterbacks. They targeted Purdy. He played well tonight. He started 4 for 4. He's not a nothing guy. This guy played in a lot of college football. Pretty good player in college. What do you think? Who's more likely to slip through waivers between Mordecai and Dobbs?
Well, I think late at the final cuts, when teams kind of get their quarterbacks set, it's kind of hard, I think, to pick up a inexperienced guy like Mordecai. But it's hard to say because he does show the talent, and like you said, he's got the looks of similar when we talked last week about Purdy. When Purdy came out, nobody thought Purdy was even going to make the team, but you were one of the first ones that said Purdy. So, I mean, I trust what you're saying.
Guys, I'll say this. He looks very similar. Now, I'm not saying he's Brock Purdy. I don't believe he is. But there's a lot of similarities. We're talking about a quarterback that played well in college, played a lot of football, played in multiple offenses. Luke Fickell told Brian Greasy that of all the Wisconsin players that were in this last draft, that if he had to bang the table for one guy, he would have banged the table for Tanner Mordecai. And Braylon Allen, who was also on that Wisconsin team, has been averaging like 9 yards a carry in the preseason for the Jets. So, I mean, that's pretty high compliment there. I mentioned that to Mordecai in the locker room, and he said, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he said that about me. But yeah, this is a mature, calm kid who looks like Brock Purdy 2 years ago, in that he masters all of the drills in practice. He looks borderline bored. If you say give me the word that describes Tanner Mordecai at practice in the spring and really in training, he looks bored. He looks bored. He looks like, you know what? I can make this pass over and over and over again repeatedly. He's making all these passes. He probably has the best arm of Purdy, Dobbs, Allen, and Mordecai. Mordecai probably has the best arm. He also has 4.46 speed. So I understand. Dobbs is a bigger name to you guys. You don't even know who Tanner Mordecai is. Most people who are listening to this going, I never even heard of Tanner Mordecai. Okay, I get it. And Dobbs just played well. So Kev's like, hey, I need to hear you say why you like Tanner Mordecai more than Dobbs. Because it could get to a situation. The Niners are hugged up against the cap with Purdy going to make $60 million next year.
It's barely a difference. They're making $1 to $2 million. I mean,
yeah, but I'm just saying they may want to go with, one, can they get Dobbs through waivers? I don't think they can.
I don't think they can.
So then it's a matter of, can you go with 3 quarterbacks on your active roster? And then you might have to lose a corner. If you went with Dobbs and you went 3 quarterbacks in your active roster, you might have to say goodbye to Sam Womack. I don't want to do that.
I would just.
I don't want to do that.
Allen. I don't think Brandon Allen has a good chance of getting picked up. Like
that's kind of. I agree, Kev. I kind of
really.
We have the same middle name there, Edward. I kind of like that. I was thinking the same thing. When I watch Mordecai throw the ball, it looks like he's got more zip. You were talking about, he looks a little bit like Purdy. He looks a little bit more athletic to me than Purdy did his first year. I know Purdy's put on some muscle this offseason and he looks stronger, but Mordecai, he has a pretty good zip on his ball.
He does.
And I think I would prefer Dobbs personally after watching tonight's game.
He looked good tonight.
Not just his ability to escape and make things happen with his legs, but watching him get rid of the ball quickly on plays that were designed to get rid of quickly out to the flat. He would just, he saw the man, first guy open, read, boom, hit his guy. When reads weren't open down the field, he was able to check or make some yardage with his feet. I don't think Allen can do that as much as Dobbs, and Purdy can. So I think what we talked about before isn't it ideal to have your second and third quarterback be similar to your first quarterback, what he can do?
I mean, it's funny. Shanahan made that claim as a philosophy when he first started. And I think that philosophy was born out of, I don't want to sign Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? If you guys remember, they had Hoyer at the time and he's like, well, I want my backup to be very similar to my starter. I think they went after Hoyer with the idea that they were going to try to have Kirk Cousins a year later. And then Jimmy Garoppolo opportunity fell in their lap and they went that direction. But yeah, I mean, Mordecai is probably more like Purdy than the other guys, but Brandon Allen's very similar to Purdy. I asked Mordecai, what it's like practicing and playing with Purdy, and he's like, hey, I've learned a lot. Just watching him go through, his progressions and drills, and he said he's learned a lot from Brock. I just think they got a good spot. They're in a good spot. I mean, I just watched Pittsburgh Buffalo the other night. Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson looks awful. Justin Fields looks atrocious. If Brandon Ayuk is hell-bent on leaving the 49ers to go play for them, good luck to you. I wish you nothing but success. But Russell Wilson's cooked, and Justin Fields stinks. and you're going to walk away from Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and this bevy of offensive weaponry for $1 million here or there. I don't know, man. I think Brandon Ayuk may not have thought it through. Let's just say that. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, the Dobbs Mordecai situation.
So what's the deal with
Brandon Allen Dobbs Mordecai situation?
Yeah, what's the deal with Brandon Allen? Like, he just, in my mind, Brandon Allen is like a third string quarterback that's just kind of a career backup that probably can help like a young quarterback or something. Like, he's not going to win games. Like Dobbs will win games. Like Dobbs is a little bit like some, like, I don't know, Trader Joe's meat or something. Like, it doesn't last very long, but it's very delicious.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the bottom line on this thing. All these people getting excited in the chat here about Dobbs and Allen. Okay, Brandon Allen has started 9 games in his career. Okay, he's 2-7 in those 9 games, so he's not been very good. Josh Dobbs has started in his NFL career 14 NFL games. He's 3-11, so he's not been very good. So I hear you, people who are like in the chat saying, Krug, I don't like your Tanner Mordecai take. That's fine. Give it time, let it breathe. I've been right in the past. That's all I'll say. I'm not saying I'm right because I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I like Tanner Mordecai more than I like Dobbs, more than I like Brandon Allen, to be honest. Tanner Mordecai is got potential. Those guys are proven backups, and 3-11 and 2-7 are not exactly glowing, records. So I like Dobbs, I like Allen, but I said it a couple weeks ago. I'm not really sure if the Niners can win games without Brock Purdy. And I'm not convinced that they can win games with Brandon Allen or Josh Dobbs. I do like Mordecai, everything I've heard about him. I've got a buddy who went to Madison this year and scouted him and really believes in him. Thinks he's a great leader, that he's an authentic leader, that he's got good arm strength, good foot speed, and that he's accurate in the short and intermediate. I don't see the touch that Purdy has down the field, but I think in some ways, he's got a better skill set as far as foot speed and arm strength. But I hear you. I hear the people in here, there's people in here going, Krug, I love you. I love your channel, this and that. But I think you're totally wrong. Dobbs should prove tonight he's QB2. Okay. I mean, if you want to put a lot of credence into an August 18th preseason game, go for it. I'm just saying, I think we kind of know what Dobbs is. 3-11, 14, 3-11 and 14 starts, kind of, I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, isn't that kind of, I don't know.
I think it'd be a little different if he was on, a great team. Last year he was on
He's been on a bunch of teams.
Yeah. I mean, he was on a horrible Cardinals team. How many did he start last year? About 7 or 8 games? For the Cardinals?
He looked good against the Niners last year, and he beat Dallas with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the long-term answer, which you got to hope. Whoever the Niners pick as their backup, if they have to rely on him for more than 4 games this year, they're in trouble.
The difference between Dobbs and Allen is that Allen is just your low-tier quarterback, backup quarterback forever, where Dobbs is like this quarterback that can give you a great week. He's going to be able to, today was one of his better days, at least in the first half, where he's going to give you that where you're like, wow, this guy might be a starter. And then he's going to have one of those games where it's like, oh, this guy should
4
not be playing
interceptions.
Football.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right. So I guess it's kind of a philosophy decision what you want to go with there.
I do think that under the system that he's playing with Kyle, where he's got the weapons, that you can hide some of his deficiencies if you have to play him in a game or two, Dobbs. And like Kev says, I think with his legs, he might be able to win you a game. And we saw where
look at DeAndre Berry. Mordecai was 4 for 6, and you got on your knees and slurped him, bro. Get real. All right.
I
Thanks.
think
Thanks,
yeah,
DeAndre Berry.
I did hear you ask both questions about Mordecai to Brock Purdy and to Kyle Shanahan. So
I did.
You got an agenda.
I believe in Tanner Mordecai. And I'm the same way some people will stand up and say, I will not apologize for this or that. I will not apologize for my belief in Tanner Mordecai. Damn it. Do I have
There
to
you
drop
go.
a damn it?
I
I'll
mean,
drop a damn it in here.
What
if I
would you
have
rather
to.
want? Would you rather know that your backup quarterback has the potential to play really, really good, but also play really, really bad? Or would you rather have a Brandon Allen type where it's like he's going to be just okay and you're not going to get anything more, you're not going to get anything less?
Here's my thing. There was this Monday night game late in the year last year, and I watched it. I wish I didn't. And that's really my problem. It was Bears Vikings, and Dobbs threw 5 picks, and he probably should have thrown 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was just maybe he looked on that day like maybe the worst quarterback I've ever seen. And so I'm having a hard time getting that one out of my mind. And here's the other one. That was a November regular season national TV game against a shitty Bears team. And this was an August 18th preseason game against the Saints backups. So sorry if I put more credence into his ass performance against the Bears on national TV than I do in some throwaway preseason nothing game.
Well, when was the last time we
August.
saw a real game from Brandon Allen? 2.5 years ago?
No, I hear you, but
I mean, it's not like
Brandon Allen has consistently looked better than Josh Dobbs in practice.
And you know
whatever.
that's what it seems like because last year there was a lot of discussion when Dobbs was on that heater about like, what the hell's the deal with this? You know, why did the Cardinals trade him for like a 7th rounder when he's playing so well? And people are kind of like, why are teams not valuing him as much? And the common consensus last year was kind of that he didn't look that great in practice. It just seems like that he's a really smart guy, and for some reason he's a gamer. And just as a counterpoint to the Chicago game, because I remember that, and yes, that was when his Trader Joe's turkey breast hit its expiration date. But like for the first 10 games of the season, he was 12 touchdowns, 6 picks, 6 rushing touchdowns. So 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions until that game in 10 games. And like the Niners, I mean, if they lose Purdy for the year, like the season's cooked anyway. It's not like none of these guys are going to come in and save it. But like we just need a guy that can hold, if Purdy, sprains his MCL, we need a guy that can come in for 4 or 5 games and go 3-2.
If you said to me, you're Brock Purdy's out 6 weeks. It's week 2. Brock Purdy's out 6 weeks. He's not out for the rest of the year. He's not out for the year. So your season's not over, but he's going to be out 6 weeks. And you got to win a game. See, I asked Brian Greasy the other day. We had a chance to talk to the assistant coaches, and I talked to him about Mordecai. And I said, hey, man, I really like Mordecai. He said, I agree with you. I said, is there anything that Mordecai could do to be the number 2 quarterback or to move up the depth chart? And he said, we really like him. But, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. And he's like, when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you don't want a rookie quarterback as your number 2 quarterback. You want experience there. So I personally think that they like Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs, and they see a player in both those guys that could potentially, as you just described, right, maybe go 3-2 in a 5-game stretch, maybe 2-3 in a 5-game stretch, and just keeps you afloat. I think that's what they see. But I personally like Mordecai more than those guys, and I think if watching Mordecai move the ball down the field, this guy can do it. I mean, this guy can run this offense. This guy can throw the short and intermediate pass accurately. He can make smart decisions with the ball, and he runs 4.4. So if you blitz him, did you guys see the Mordecai flush where they flushed him around the side and he ran for like 11 yards or whatever, 12 yards? That was a nice run.
Yeah.
And it looked like a 5-yard run. I think it was like a 9 or 10 or 12-yard run, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if the Niners are smart, they'll just be quiet about him, and hopefully they can sneak him on the practice squad.
Yeah, seriously, that's probably the right answer. Then the question is this: Do you go with Brandon Allen and cut Dobbs and put Mordecai on the practice squad and just have your third guy there? Or do you go with a fourth and go with 3 on your active roster and Mordecai on the practice squad? That's the debate. And it's going to be very, very difficult
who do you
for
think
the 49ers to come up with 3 roster spots for quarterbacks this year.
Larry, who would potentially pick up Allen if he was released? Would it be Cincinnati? Would any team other than Cincinnati possibly pick him up?
I don't think Cincinnati would. Don't they have Jake Browning?
Yeah, maybe like
Yeah,
the Chargers.
He played well at the end of the year. Yeah, you'd have to. Who exactly? It's hard to say, right? Because it's hard to say who had a great evaluation on him in the draft.
It's also you could trade. Dobbs is tradable. He's you don't have to cut him. He is.
Well, that that is the thing. I mean, if you get down to it, there's probably some team out there. One, I don't think Dobbs sneaks through waivers. So if your plan is to try to have Dobbs as a veteran on your practice squad, that's going to be difficult. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there very well could be a team that would like to have Dobbs as a proven backup at the end. I mean, the Niners Niners have here is they've got a solid starter. They have 2 proven number 2 quarterbacks, and then they have a rookie they kind of like. So
let me ask you.
I'm not sure what the game plan is.
If I was the Saints, I'd want Dobbs after today. I don't like either.
You don't like Hayner or Rattler?
Mm-mm.
No, they're both both rookies, right? Or
well, Hayner's a second-year guy.
Second-year guy, but yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say the worst happens and, hopefully nothing happens, and if Purdy was to go down, would the Niners, do you think they would go the trade route and look immediately for an upgrade versus what they would have as a backup? Would they try? I mean, I hate to bring this up. I hate to bring this guy's name up because it's been such a, a thorn in so many people's side, but is Jimmy G going to be available? Would the Niners go with him for 6 to 8 weeks just to try to?
Wow.
I mean,
is he going to be available? Yes, I think he is going to be available.
But they're not.
Right? Isn't he playing terrible with the Rams?
Yeah, isn't he suspended or something? He's not.
For a couple games, he's suspended. Yeah. I know that.
But like the Rams aren't going to help the Niners.
But if they released him, I don't think they would trade him to the Niners.
Why would the Rams release him when their backup quarterback is Stetson Bennett,
who just threw like 5 picks too, or something like that? 4
in the first preseason game. He threw 1 against the Chargers. But I would think Minnesota would have a lot of interest in Dobbs, just because they lost the quarterback and he knows their system, he knows their offense, he knows the head coach. He won some games for them last year. I think that makes sense, and yeah, I do think Dobbs could potentially fetch you a 6th or 7th round pick.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't have a problem having Mordecai as a third quarterback, kind of like Purdy was, and have Allen be your second if you were to trade Dobbs. But I think if you're going to have your best second pick as quarterback, I think Dobbs gives you a shot. In Dobbs, to me, seems like a guy that could come in the middle of a game and kind of do something to keep you, maybe even win you the game. He's the type of guy that, as you saw with Chicago last year, that game Monday night, he can win you a game and he can lose you a game. But under Kyle's,
he's the Tyler Rogers of NFL players.
There you go.
Saying, Danny?
There you go. That's a good analogy.
Except he doesn't have a twin.
Yeah. Looking at, I want to I wanted to ask you guys, because it's the first time I've actually seen him since college at Arizona, but he looked really good tonight, cowing. I mean, he had a good return, and then he had the reverse, and he was flying around. It looks like the hamstring is hopefully behind him, but he got that deep ball at the end of the first half down
from
to the
Dobbs.
5-yard line. Yeah, from Dobbs, right. And he had that double move. I don't know if you saw it, Larry, if they showed the replay, but on Fox, he had a nice double move he put on the corner and to get separation. And, to me, he's earned a spot tonight. If he was, for some reason, maybe a practice type guy, I think he earned a spot on the 50.
Well, he needed to step up. I mean,
Yeah.
because the guy looked awesome, right? He had this incredible practice 3 weeks ago. Then he pulls his hamstring, and he didn't play for 4 or 5 days. And then when he came back to practice, he wasn't the same guy, and he took him a couple days to kind of shake off the rust. And then the last 2 or 3 days before this game, he was making plays all over the field, and then kind of like what you saw tonight. It's a really good player. I personally think that Cowing is better than Pearsall. Now, I know people like Pearsall, and Pearsall was the first-round pick. But to me, in the NFL, you got to have that ability to separate from the defender, and you got to be able to maintain that separation throughout the length of the route. And I don't know that Pearsall can do that, but I know that Cowing can. And when I asked Brock Purdy about Cowing 3 weeks ago, and he's like, yeah, this guy separates vertically. He's very competitive at the catch point, and he's very refined. He also said, and this is something that like you guys and I we can't see this, and only Brock telling us this would even give us this indication. He said, the guy is where he's supposed to be. He's like a lot of rookie receivers, they get knocked off their route, and just more times than not, they're not where they're supposed to be, and they can't be trusted. Brock said Cowing is a veteran like player in that regard. He gets to his spot on time, and you can trust that he will be in his spot on time, and that makes Brock comfortable to throw him the ball. So I think Cowing is going to be better than Pearsall. I really do. Now I know a lot of people really like Pearsall, and I do too. But to me, you need that. This is the perimeter in the NFL. Only special athletes need apply. Everybody who's not special just is kind of, just gets kind of forgotten about. And I just don't see super special with Pearsall as far as athleticism and separation. Cowing, on the other hand, 4.3 speed, and he can separate at will. So I see that extra gear with Cowing. I just don't see that extra gear with Pearsall, and he's going to need it. So I'm not quite as. If Pearsall had shown some more durability in this camp, I'd be a little bit more excited. The fact that Pearsall has been very, very fragile and is still battling, a shoulder injury. I mean, this guy has not even really taken any hits. And the NFL, receivers take big time hits on their shoulders all the time. This guy's barely even taken any hits at all this summer, and he's got a sore shoulder. That does not bode well. It really doesn't. I really question Pearsall's overall durability.
I really liked seeing Cowing today. Like, I haven't seen him since his college film, but it just seems like his speed is much more translatable to the 49ers offense than like someone like Danny Gray, who, by the way, didn't look
key
too
drop
good
tonight.
Didn't look too good today. Not a good look from Danny Gray today. But
he's
Cowing the end around. He's just very fast. He's quick stuff to start. I think he has better side to side speed. Even on that play that he got a screen pass and then ran it the other way he got a screen pass on the left hand side and ran it all the way to the right hand side and got tackled for a loss. I thought that was obviously not a good play, but during that play, he even made a juke where he juked at a defender really well. So even on that bad play, I thought he did a good thing. So
he reminds me a little bit of Emmanuel Sanders when the Niners had him in 19. That quickness, size, he's smaller than Sanders, obviously, but he is a football player. You could see it. He's a heck of he's going to be a weapon for the 49ers. And I mean, to me, the question is going to come down to who's going to be that last receiver. I mean, I think BA signs and then Debo and Jennings, the top three, who's going to be 4 or 5. And if they carry 6, is it going to be Conley?
I think it's Ayuk, Debo, JJ, Cowing, and Pearsall.
That's 5. So
that's 5.
So
then I think the 6th guy is either going to be Conley, Ronnie Bell, Tay Martin, Chosen Anderson, Trent Taylor or Danny Gray. I would say Chris Conley has the edge right now, with Trent Taylor being close second.
Trent Taylor
did not look good today. He dropped the ball in the end zone.
And Ronnie
But
Bell's
Trent Taylor
dropping
is a
a lot of
return
balls.
man, and they like him as a return guy.
I'd rather have Cowing returning.
Oh, I would too. Trent Taylor is a very conservative option as
Trent Taylor lost a lot of stock in my head after
return guy.
today. I don't want to put a lot in a preseason game, but he just did not do anything today.
So what really is the deal with Pearsall? Like in like the best version of him, what is he, like a slower version of like Drake London or something? He's just kind of a guy who just.
I think he's a Thielen type.
Thielen?
To me, he's like Danny Amendola. Now, Amendola
I don't like that comparison.
I know nobody does, because Amendola was undrafted. This guy's a first round freaking pick.
They're not even the same size though. It's not even like they're just both white.
Yeah, but believe me, that's the good comparison, because mediocre size, great ball skills, can turn you into a pretzel, all kinds of quickness, unbelievable stop and start ability, separation ability in the short area. I mean, Pearsall and Amendola, there was a time where Danny Amendola, was an all-pro special teamer, but he was a very tough cover. I mean, this guy, you laugh about Amendola all you want, and I understand there's people that don't like that comp. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. It's not like the guy's a bum. And this guy's very similar.
I just feel like I was sold that he was like this guy that he's just like unbelievable, catching the ball at the high point, and just seems
what
like
if he's stealing? If he's stealing, are you happy?
I would be very happy with
Yeah,
I mean,
Adam
we're
Thielen,
talking near Hall of Fame receivers like Thielen, Amendola. Give me either.
I just think he's a
either of them.
Thielen in a sense that the way that he plays receiver and his height and his speed and he's actually more athletic than Thielen in that sense, but his height, weight, and just his play styles is very similar to Thielen. I don't know if he's going to be as successful as Thielen. Thielen was one of the most successful guys for someone who's that slow.
Right.
But
are these guys just is his injuries just nagging, or is it going to hold him back from not seeing the field before week 1?
I did see someone tweeted like he didn't miss games at all in college. So like,
no, he didn't. He only had 5 drops in college. So he had the only thing about Pearsall is he doesn't have great collegiate production for a guy who, now, do you want to blame Florida's quarterbacks? Do you want to blame Florida's offense?
I do want to.
Do you want to blame Florida? I mean, you could, but I'd like to see a little bit more production for a guy who doesn't have upside. Like, Xavier Legette went next, and, he's big, strong, 230 pounds, very, very fast in the 4.3s. I would have liked to have seen them go for that kind of a receiver, but he doesn't have near the ball skills as Pearsall, and hopefully Pearsall can make a contribution right away. Mitchell and Ness says, Larry, word on the street is you've become a giant shill on KMBR. Say it's not so. Danny, is there any chance that I could become a Giants shill? It just seems almost borderline impossible.
I wouldn't expect that. I would not expect.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it either.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm hanging out with Dieter every now and then. Dieter, so he's extra.
I had Dieter on the other night talking about Farhan. It was kind of fun.
Dietz, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
nobody can put away the food in the press box like Dietz, by the way. Robbie439 says Larry's in love with Mordecai. I wouldn't call it love. We're seeing other people right now.
Oh.
Kevin, did you just mute me?
I was not trying to mute you. Sorry, that's an accident.
Oh, I thought you were muting me. No, but I am in love with the idea of a really good, valuable piece to your puzzle that you find without spending anything. It really helped the Giants when Elliot Ramos busted out this year. You know what I mean? It really helped the Warriors that they drafted Trace Jackson Davis 57, and he became really, really good. And it really helped the 49ers. I mean, you could make an argument it saved John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that Brock Purdy became a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback as Mr. Irrelevant. So yeah, I am rooting for Tanner Mordecai to become more than just a, throwaway nothing. And here's the thing: the reason I'm encouraged on this is I just really believe that, you like anything else. I mean, you everything's about when you get up. It's about feel. Like, do you have a good feel for it? And I mentioned that Brock Purdy clearly has a great feel. Well, there's no question that Brian Griese has a good feel for quarterback evaluation. For him and Kubiak, Clint Kubiak, to be like, hey, we think Brock Purdy's pretty good. Look what Brock Purdy is. And now for the Niners to look at a bunch of quarterbacks in the draft and say, hey, we like Tanner Mordecai, and look what he looks like. He looks terrific. And what you saw today or tonight here at Levi's is what I'm seeing every single day in practice. The other day, Grant's like, hey, Tanner Mordecai had a rough game, a rough practice. And I'm like, no, he didn't. He looked great. But then I went back in my notes, and sure enough, one of the passes got tipped into the air and it was picked, and another one was a ball that he threw right to a defender, so that was picked. So he did have 2 picks. But I'm thinking to myself, I just don't put that kind of credence in practice picks. It doesn't bother me to see a quarterback have a ball tipped into the air and somebody grab it. I don't look at that and go, bad play by Brock Purdy or bad play by Mordecai. I'm looking for the guy who looks like he's got accuracy. The ball comes out on time. It hits the receiver in stride. There's no breaking of stride. And Brock does it religiously, and Mordecai does it the next best of the rest of these quarterbacks. As somebody who's at every one of these practices and watching it, this guy hits guys in stride, and he did it again tonight. So, and then talking to him, he was exactly the way Rye, you were standing next to me when we walked up to Brock Purdy for the very first time in 2022 and interviewed him. And it was like, he kind of was like the old soul, right? He was like a 22-year-old guy who was like, been there, done it, wasn't wowed, wasn't awed, the moment wasn't too big. He wasn't like, oh my God, there's Jimmy G over there. That's Trey Lance. I could never be as good as Trey Lance. He had this kind of like, I'm pretty fucking good, and I know it. You know what I mean? And Mordecai's got that same thing. I'm not saying he's Brock Purdy. I'm just saying he's got that same kind of, I'm pretty good, and I think I'm pretty good. And it's subtle, but you saw tonight what I've been seeing in practice. He looks pretty good. We didn't see Pline do anything, really. Did he not hit the box score? Did Pline not catch a ball in this game?
I don't think he did.
Right. I got it right here. Box score.
No.
Receiving.
I didn't see him.
Yeah.
One question I had for you guys on this receiving team. One of the things that the Niners have really lacked, it seems, for years. I don't know if it's been since Jerry Rice or whatever, but we always used to see Jerry get 2 steps beyond the corner, and he would be gone. Pat Montana, just who's the Niners' deep threat on this team that can get past the corner on a, should happen at least once a game. Where
Cowing, Ronnie Bell, or Danny Gray.
Danny Gray.
Danny Gray's got
Danny Gray also. He had a one-on-one play today where he didn't beat the corner.
Well, he was beat him a little bit, but the ball was a little underthrown down there at the corner of the end zone. That was was that Dobbs?
Yeah, I mean the ball. I mean I thought Danny Gray should have made a better play on that ball.
I think he just tried to keep it from getting picked off, if I recall. But
I'll tell you the one of the plays that I loved in this game in the first half, Eric Sauerbert, the backup tight end.
Yeah.
It was going to be a surefire interception, and he just said, no, it's not. And he fought for the ball and took it away from the defender. You want to make quarterbacks happy, fight for the ball in the air. Like if the guy picks it off, it's an interception on you. You know what I mean? When when a quarterback sees his receiver, go after the ball in the air, that's going to be a pick, and say, no, it's not going to be a pick because I'm not going to let it be a pick. That makes a quarterback love his tight end. No,
that's
question.
One thing we didn't talk about. Sorry.
I think you're getting to the same thing. I was going to say, Joe Schmo says, who's legit number tight end 2? I have no idea.
I think it's Sauerbert. It's Sauerbert because of the blocking. He's a really strong inline blocker. So I think Kittle's your 1, obviously. Sauerbert's your 2.
Willis 3?
Willis could be 3, but he got destroyed last week as a blocker. Latu could be 3. Yeah, he was a 3rd-round pick, but he's been a bust. Klein could be 3. He's probably been the most consistent in practice, but it's a major step up in going from Furman to the NFL. I think it's Kittle, Saubert, and Klein. But
I would go Kittle, Saubert, Willis.
Okay. Some people like Tongas.
Yeah, Tongas looked good tonight.
He's small, though, isn't he?
He reminds me a little bit of.
He's light. He's about 230.
Yeah. He caught 3 balls tonight for 22 yards.
If we want to go full conspiracy, Dad, we could go conspiracy and say that the Niners don't want to play Klein because they want to stash him on the practice squad.
I think there might be something to that. I don't think that's conspiracy
he has
at all.
not played a snap this preseason.
I know. It makes me think they want to carry him through to the practice squad. Coach Scrapper JC 444. Kev, is Mordecai your brother? Your dad loves him more than he loves you. Well, that ain't right.
So true.
That ain't right.
That Mordecai would get a haircut.
Mordecai probably has more potential to make more money in the future.
What do you guys think? A couple things. What do you think of the offensive line tonight? They had the patchwork.
They had him out for a while.
They had Zakel
whole first half.
Yeah, they had Zakel playing, and of course,
I think Zakel's going to make it. I think Zakel's going to beat out Nugent as the backup center to Brendel. I think they want to keep Zakel. I'm not saying they want to just because of Brock Purdy, but that doesn't hurt either. That he's buddies with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I thought the offensive line, for the most part, the first team they looked okay.
It was okay. McKivitz had a penalty. Didn't McKivitz have a bad penalty? Let me see.
He had a false start.
Well, the O-line struggled in the first quarter. No question. Protecting for Purdy. There's no question about that.
The first 3, yes.
Oh, yeah. Chase Young had all-time effort today. I wish he had that in the NFC Championship game.
I didn't even notice. Jalen Moore got beat for a hit on the quarterback in the second quarter. McKivitz also he struggled. He struggled on one play in the first half. I saw that. And then in the third quarter, there was let's see, where was there? Who was it? Which offensive line? One of the offensive linemen had a big penalty in the third quarter. But the offensive line struggled. The offensive line struggled. I'm going to be very eager to see, like, between Kingston and Jalen Moore and Hubbard and Zakel, who the backup offensive linemen are. Because I think you've got your five starters for sure. But, like, is Burford a lock? Is Feliciano a lock? You would think they would be because of their status a year ago. But they haven't played. They're hurt. So I'll tell you the other one that's going to be really interesting is Shanahan was asked in the postgame about Isaac Guerrero, kind of indirectly. He was asked about guys who are hurt, and he's like, yeah, it's really hard because, especially if they were hurt early on where we really didn't get that great of an opportunity to evaluate them. I don't know. If I were the 49ers, I would be very scared of cutting Isaac Guerrero.
They might have to redshirt him.
You might have to redshirt him. You might have to do what Kev says and just IR him for the year.
The Cam Latu.
Or, unless you're going to go with so maybe the Niners could go with 5 running backs. And if they went with 5 running backs, it would be CMC.
That's not normal, right? They don't usually go 5.
Are you counting a fullback as 1?
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they go 5 or 6. Usually NFL teams go 10 combined running backs and wide receivers. So you either go 4 wide receivers and
it's a
6
stacked
running backs, or you go 5 and 5. So I would say
room too.
Yeah, you got a lot of wide receivers. So you're going to go with 6 wide receivers. I would say running back wise, you're probably going to go with 5 running backs. So you'd have your 5 running backs are CMC, Juice, JP Mason, and then probably Elijah Mitchell. Those are your top 4. And then so that means the 5th running back, if you go with 5, has to be one between Schrader, Garendo, Breida, Patrick Taylor, Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah.
All those guys maybe for one spot. Now, I'm a big fan of Cody Schrader, but you know what? Cody Schrader looks like the NFL is a big, big step up, and he's not ready for it.
That was a huge takeaway I had watching him today.
Same.
Yeah, he's a great college back. He's and he'll be a nice guy to put on the practice squad, right, and develop for a year. And he might even be good in a year. But I think, to me, I went into this camp thinking, you know what? If he doesn't make it, he won't clear waivers, and he'll wind up on some other team. But now watching him, I think that he will clear waivers.
Yeah.
And I would probably, if it was me, I'd probably go Christian McCaffrey, Juszczyk, Mason, Mitchell. And if I got to go with a 5th guy, I'm probably, even though he has not played, I would go with Garendo. I mean, he's 220 pounds. He runs 4.38. If you watch this guy on the practice field, it's like a sports car. I mean, it's like a look at that Lamborghini right there. You know,
Was he a 4th round pick this year?
He's a 4th round pick, and he runs 4.38 at 220 pounds. Now, he barely played in college, so it's not like you can sit there and go, yeah, you know, this guy can do it. He might not be able to do it. He might just be a guy who's big and strong and fast, but is not that great. So I think that's going to be an interesting one. Shanahan said this week that they're going to get him healthy. They're going to get him on the practice squad or practice field this week, and that he's probably going to play this week against the Raiders. So talk about a guy who needs a big performance in that final preseason game. I think it's Garendo, but if Garendo has the big performance, I think that could lend itself to Schrader being on the practice squad and Garendo being on the active roster. So that's something to look for next week for sure.
Schrader last week had 5 carries for 6 yards. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that it was the 2nd, 3rd string offensive lineman from the 49ers that really kind of blew it for him. But he played the whole first half and had 15 yards. So
7 carries, 15 yards.
He had 3 targets too and had pretty much nothing to show for it. So.
Yeah. You know, I noticed I didn't watch the defensive line as intensely as I should have. I was busy with doing a couple things, but I saw one play where Robert Beal just got taken completely out of the play. Like it was like he was going up, he was a high schooler and he was going up against a college All-American tackle. He just got wiped out. And I was thinking, wow, I don't recall watching too many games where a defensive end gets taken out of a play that bad. And I was just like, I don't know if that was an aberration or just if that's going to be a problem. I know he's a little smaller than some other, edge rushers, but he was just manhandled. I don't know if you saw it, Kev.
One of my main takeaways was the defensive line. They were
awful.
Last year, that was the same thing. Last year, we were
What
talking
did you
about
think of the D-line?
The run defense last year, and we were like, oh, the run defense is not doing good, but it's the preseason. Maybe that will change. And then it ended up being the story of the entire season. And I don't think anything has changed because they gave up, what was it? I think it was 5 yards a carry at halftime. And they were giving up 6.4 a carry to Jamal Williams and 5.4 yards per carry to James Robinson. So they were just knifing up the middle. And even on that goal line, they had a goal line stand. That touchdown they scored on the goal line, it was on the 1 yard line, and they had the back camera angle. And Jordan Elliott just got put to his knees. He was just on his knees, like he just got worked on the interior. So that's something I would definitely like. I mean, maybe Elliott.
shined that brightly this preseason is Jordan Elliott.
Maybe Collins and Hargrave are the answer there, but the backups have not played well. Shaquille Brown had a few nice plays, but still, a lot of running backs
him and Evan
young.
Anderson, Brown's slow. Anderson today, I thought, he just doesn't have any kind of juice to move. It's like, is he strong like DJ Jones? Yeah, but he doesn't move like DJ Jones. And that's the thing. It's like he's another nice practice squad player, but I think you need something else. I'm looking at the 49ers. The one thing that stands out to me, I watched this game for Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, and neither jumped out a ton to me. They both look decent, but I think the 49ers are in that spot with the defensive line where they they're going to have to look outside, not inside, because so I think they're going to go 10 D linemen, 5 tackles, 5 ends. The tackles I think are going to be Hargrave and Malik Collins and Kevin Givens and Jordan Elliott, those 4, and probably Evan Anderson beating out T.Y. McGill, Shaquille Brown, Nick Williams. But it could be just a defensive tackle from outside the organization. But then defensive end, you got Bosa, you got Leonard Floyd, you got Gross Matos, you got Robert Beal. You need 5. I don't like Alex Barrett. I'm not a big fan of the other guys, Garvin or the kid from Maryland. And I just think that if you're going to look for one transaction from the 49ers between now and 9 days from now when they cut this thing down, I expect them to trade or sign a veteran 5th defensive end. I don't know who it's going to be. I threw out Tyree Wilson from the Raiders as somebody who could be traded for. Could be Isaiah Foskey. Could be Peyton Turner. Could be any number of guys around the league. I just don't think that defensive end that they need is in this camp. I think they're going to have to go outside for this defensive end. So they look pretty good in the secondary. Look pretty good at linebacker. Pretty deep on the offensive line. Tight end's a little thin, but they've got some options. Deep at receiver, deep at running back, deep at quarterback. It's a deep team with lots of talent on this roster. But the defensive end spot, I do think they need one more guy, and I think they're probably going to have to trade for that guy. So we'll see. We'll see who shakes free at the deadline. It should be something to watch. Who just popped in here on the bottom? Do we have JD? JD just popped in. We welcome in JD. JD, thanks for jumping in with us. We're just about to hit a couple starred chats, and we're coming down the home stretch. Let me read some of these starred chats, and then we'll get JD's thoughts. We've got this one from DeBig 25. He says, both the O-line and D-line didn't look good. Jalen Moore gave up 8 quarterback pressures. Finally got to see Mordecai. Hopefully comes in after Dobbs next game. George Peterson says, is it sorry about that. Is it me or did Mordecai give off some twitchy, Purdy-esque vibes? Kid looks solid. I think you're very perceptive. Jerry Schetzel says, here's money to get Bell to change his number. What's Ronnie Bell's, 9?
10.
No, he's 10. Oh, so he doesn't want the Kyle Williams number. I think Jerry's getting Kyle Williams flashbacks. We got this one from Big 25. If you're a college football fan, you know that Mordecai can sling it, but unfortunately, Kyle has a love affair with Brandon Allen. To Big 25 says Farhan equals Trent Baalke. I wrote the name Marco Luciano down in an envelope, Lowry, and I told myself this guy can't play a lick. All right. Green Glass Full says not getting a tackle at pick 14 was a huge error. Yes, I do agree with that. And Luis Madera, any concerns about Jake Moody? Well, he made 3 and missed 1, right? Is that what it was tonight? I'm not too concerned about Jake Moody. I'm really not. We welcome in John Dickinson of KMBR fame, who's coming to us from the the post-game show on KMBR. JD, what was your primary takeaway on this one? 49ers got a win, but what stood out to you?
Yeah, the initial thing for me is Brock Purdy played and basically nobody else did in terms of the, others that were available to play among the starters. I mean, it was Colton McKivitz was out there and Jake Brendel was out there, and that was it. And Purdy was kind of running for his life and out of rhythm. And I know, he probably wanted to get out there and feel it a little bit. I know Kyle Shanahan typically likes to get his guys out there. I feel like he does trend old school, at least he wants to be. But yet I also think the way that this camp has gone with the slow build into this past week that was supposed to be the joint practices and everything out of whack, I feel like in the big picture, Kyle didn't want to risk it, which is why Kittle and Debo aren't out there. But then Purdy is out there. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me tonight, just first and foremost. And of course, he's going to look out of rhythm, kind of running for his life and without weapons. So I don't really make too much of it. I know you could make the case that Purdy maybe hasn't had the best camp if you really want to nitpick those things, but I don't think this has been the best overall camp for the 49ers top to bottom. So that was kind of number one for me. I'll keep it on the quarterbacks. I thought Joshua Dobbs, I thought Joshua Dobbs had a nice game. He shows that he's just kind of a gamer, right? He isn't, the passes are not always pretty. There are times where he just looks out of sync, maybe in the context of the offense, but yet he's going to also have some grit and guile and make a play and use his legs and keep the chains. Like, you can just see why guys who have played with Joshua Dobbs really like Joshua Dobbs. And so I think he's somebody potentially worth keeping around. And, look, I've said it, Brandon Allen, I think, was the number 2 quarterback after week 1. I think he entered this week still as the number 2 quarterback. I think he just provides Kyle Shanahan, I'm talking about Allen now, with a comfortability that he likes to have. But I think really what it tells me, and I know, Larry, you want to talk about Mordecai maybe as I say this, but
oh boy,
as,
does he.
As it relates to, to me, there are things that Brandon Allen does well. There are things that Joshua Dobbs does well, but I think I don't think either one of them is good enough to where I can say, keep this guy, cut that guy. And so I think you have to keep both of them. That's my takeaway off of this. We've seen you have to keep both of them, because if something happens to Brock Purdy, the 49ers are in big trouble. I think that we can, this is not last year where it's Sam Darnold and things might be okay. But I think you need, all right, something happens to Brock Purdy in game, I can go to Josh Dobbs. Something happens where you're going to be without Brock Purdy for 3 or 4 games. Maybe you start Brandon Allen, and if that doesn't go well, you go to Josh Dobbs, and he gives you a spark. So I don't know. Whoever the 2 versus the 3, I still think it's Allen's the 2 and Dobbs is the 3 right now. But I think that the big quarterback takeaway, and I'll let you guys jump in, is you got to keep all 3 of them at this point.
JD, I threw the comparison out, or the situation out, and I want to hear your perspective on it. I think that Dobbs is one of those guys that has a higher ceiling, lower floor, and Brandon Allen's just more of a lower floor quarterback, maybe middle floor, we'll call it that. Do you not want a quarterback with a higher floor or higher potential floor if you're in a game that you must win? Like, say he's coming into a game, you need to get a win. Are you going to settle with mid, or are you going to take a risk on the high or low?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably be more inclined on this team to maybe say, with all the talent they have, that you might go mid. Honestly, I think it's a fair. But again, they're just, to me, the 2 of them. And I asked this question on the KMBR post-game show to Adam Copeland and to Dennis Brown.
This is regurgitated secondhand material now.
We were just talking. Yeah. Hey, I can dip. You want me to dip? No.
Are we getting regurgitation sensation right
here?
No,
I think it's a quality question. I'll let you guys be the judge.
Okay, we'll evaluate. Damn it.
Exactly. You tell me. Look, if you needed a guy to go in a game immediately and win you that game, who would you rather have? if you wanted to get, if you knew
Tanner Mordecai.
and if you knew you were going to be without a Purdy for a month, who would you want to have? And I think it's a different.
Tanner Mordecai.
If your answer's different, then I think you have to keep both guys. Like I don't know. I don't think either is good enough to be honest. Which means you got to keep both or play Tanner Mordecai. I don't know. Kick that around.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good question.
I like the way you frame that, John, because if I'm thinking of it from Kyle Shanahan's perspective, that's different. I think Kyle will want to go with Brandon Allen because Kyle
Default to the scheme.
Yeah, Kyle wants his scheme to be executed. He wants a robotic quarterback. He's not necessarily going to be as down as I would say the fans and the general football watching public is for like a Josh Dobbs, who will kind of pull stuff out of his butt. Although I think Dobbs is such a smart guy. I feel like you could tame him a little bit. You could have him Krug's turned the lights on. I'm just a huge fan of Dobbs.
Detective.
I think Dobbs is good for 4 to 6 weeks. I think he can do it. I think he can give you 3-3 over 4 to 6 weeks. Brandon Allen, I mean, yeah, he can hand the ball off. I don't know. Brandon Allen just is kind of gross. Like it's just kind of like low floor, low ceiling. You know what? It's low variance because it's going to be low. That's what it is.
I'm not as anti Brandon Allen. I know what you're saying. He's kind of mid, and he's 2-7. But you know what? I'll say this about Brandon Allen. He ain't afraid. He's super smart. He doesn't seem like the moment's too big. To me, that's one of the things. That's like one of the first things I always look for in a rookie or in a backup quarterback. It's just like, do I think the guy is gonna, whiz down his leg? And he seems pretty. He's got some moxie. You know what I mean? He's got some poise. He's a little bit more there. Now he's only 2-7. What I say, 2-7 and 9 starts, so that's not great. But
I haven't seen enough of Allen over his career. But is he got
he's 2-7? I mean, he hasn't played a lot.
Is he a higher floor than Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard, and Jimmy? Is he going to not the critical
Jimmy.
mistake?
He's not a higher floor than Jimmy, but I think he's higher floor than those other guys.
I don't think he's a higher floor than Nick Mullins.
Yeah, Mullins is actually
really.
He was slinging it last year.
Mullins could sling it.
Yeah, I like Mullins.
I'm not a believer.
He's
Mullins.
a little bit. He does turn it over, but he can. Yeah.
He's going to make some. He's going to make some killer mistakes, but he's going to make some plays. He's just kind of a gunslinger without the. He thinks he's got a bigger gun than he actually has.
Right. Here's the question I would have: if the Raiders, who have Gardner Minshew as the starter and Aiden O'Connell as the backup, if the Niners tried to sneak Dobbs through the waiver wire to get him to the practice squad and go with Allen as the number 2, do you think the Raiders would claim him?
I think someone would. I don't know if the Raiders would.
I think there's a team. I think there's at least a team that would claim Brandon Allen too. I think he's think he is well known enough in the system around the league. Think of all the coaches that run some variation of Kyle's system. And even I'll give you an example. Even he came from Cincinnati, right? Well, right. Cincinnati is, what Callahan now is with Tennessee. Like, what if Tennessee's like, you know what, we'll grab him and make him a backup quarterback, or cut our third guy to throw you into the mix because I think you're a vet that our young quarterback that we just took can learn under and you can play in a pin. Like I just think even with Allen, there's enough of the Shanahan McVay clones all over the league now to where somebody would find a spot for him on their roster if he came available.
By the way, Sacred Intuition says Purdy looked more excited for Mordecai, Larry. Kev, you don't have the video of that, do you?
I can pull it up if you give me a minute.
I asked Trent. I asked Brock Purdy today about Mordecai. I said, "Hey man, I asked you about him last week. You said he really can sling it. What'd you think of him today?" I thought he looked pretty good. And he's like, his eyes lit up, and you could tell. It's like, dude, Brock Purdy knows good quarterback play, and he's just like immediately he was just like, I mean, you could just tell. I mean, you can tell. Brock Purdy sees talent in Tanner Mordecai. I really believe that.
They played him tonight, Larry.
I know.
They showed their hand. Like, what do you think they're up to with that?
Well, as I was saying to the other guys, JD, I just I don't know that Tanner Mordecai. I don't know that they fear getting him through waivers, right? You know, I think I think that they feel like he will slide through waivers, but they also are cognizant of the fact that they did pick Brock Purdy. The whole league knows they picked Brock Purdy. And so who the Niners take flyers on at quarterback because of Brock Purdy is going to get noticed by other people. There's no question about that. And who knows? Maybe somebody will see the specialness in Mordecai. My guess is probably not. My guess is that maybe if he plays next week and plays great, maybe he gets claimed. But if he doesn't play next week, or if he plays next week and he just plays okay, I think he could probably. I think he could probably sneak through. All right, here's Purdy.
So love having him in the room, and like I said, he's pretty electric.
Brock, last week you told me that Tanner could rip it, and we got a chance to see him tonight. And I thought he looked pretty good. What did you think of his first performance?
Yeah, man, awesome. To get out there, get into a rhythm, make a couple good throws on the run, and he was in rhythm, on time, making good decisions, man. So to go out there, fourth quarter, you never know what's going to happen or what defenses are going to be doing at that point. But he went out there and ran our offense pretty efficiently. So I'm pumped for him, and I know that's going to continue to boost his confidence as he plays more. So pumped for him.
So there you go. Little Brock Purdy on.
He's always half grinning. Whenever you ask him about Mordecai, he's always like half grinning. I don't know if he likes him.
He knows.
I don't know.
He knows. He's like,
sees a little of himself, Kevin.
You know what he knows? He's like Krug knows. Krug knows. He saw it in me, and he sees it in Mordecai. This guy Krug is special, very, very special. That's why Better wanted to be a sponsor on the show. That's why Dan Cochimilio's over there. That's why Rye Smith's in the house, even though the top of his head is cut off right now. This is why JD's here, because they all want to be a part of the Krug extravaganza. No, I'm just spitballing. Was there a fire alarm going off in the building, JD? Because there were lights blinking, and people were asking me before about fire alarms. I didn't see any flames or anything.
Now, in full disclosure, I was out of the building for probably 40 minutes or so. I went and did kind of an extended KMBR segment. And so to do that, you got to go out of the building to go back in the building. And so you're kind of in a separate wing, as you know. Right. So I was not, to my knowledge. Now I'm back. I don't know where it looks like you commandeered one of the spots that I used last year.
Oh, you took JD's spot.
Yeah, I did. I said I was looking for a certain spot, and I thought, where would JD set up? And I looked around. And I said, you know what? Yeah. This is where JD would set up. And then I decided to set up here. So are you down the hall? Are you in the press box somewhere?
I went down to the workroom just to drop off. I had a bunch of stuff, so I'm the only one in here. If there was somebody in here writing a story right now, I would have figured out somewhere else. But I'm the only person here.
Oh,
so
I'm
in the workroom for practice. Yeah, like we come down to during practice.
Okay,
I just my little desk here.
I just learned that you guys all got desks in like little cubicles the other day.
Yeah,
I thought that's so funny. Like it's like a school.
Yeah, you want a little tour?
Yeah. Why don't we get a little tour? Can we get a little tour?
We'll just get a little tour.
Wait. Can we make them big? Can we make them big?
It's the JD desk. Here.
Can we make JD big? Yeah, we can make JD bigger.
We'll just
here, let me get rid of the comment.
Yeah.
This is the media workroom. Show me where Dave Lombardi speaks so positively about the Niners.
Lombardi is
show us where Grant writes the hit pieces.
Show me where Grant Cohn rips the shit out of Kyle Shanahan.
Here, we'll go over to Grant. Here, is this Grant? I don't mean he's not here right now, but yeah, Grant.
Show me where Cam Inman puts sentences together.
Yeah.
Can you show me the labels like they're?
Yeah. Here.
This is nothing without the label. Who's this? Oh, there. Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, you got the nameplates.
Look at that. It's got a nameplate.
We all have nameplates.
It's got calendars.
I would show you.
Schedules?
Yeah, Eric here.
Where's Eric Branch?
He's
Eric
right
Branch,
here.
wait a second. Eric Branch right now is just wrapping up his last question to Kyle Shanahan.
So yeah, I'm going. Larry, I thought you had a nameplate, Larry. We got to get you a nameplate.
No, God damn it! Can you maybe you could spray paint me one? I want a nameplate
this is the spot.
I want a nameplate that's like carved in blood.
This is the spot where Larry's usually at, right here.
I'm in that second 2-hole. I can be in the 2-hole.
There's a looks like there's a we got a little
Fig
bar here left over.
Yes,
Definitely Larry's spot,
Get your damn hands off my fig bar.
That'll be here for you on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, it's like a little.
These are the
office
same halls that the great Ryan Smith
type
once
situation.
walked.
There's snacks and stuff. There's
Oh, look at the snacks! Look at the beef jerky.
Oh, wow,
there's
they did not
tremendous
have-
jerky there.
They
Grab
didn't
some
have
Kind
that
bars.
when I was there.
I have some Kind bars in my pantry right now.
There you go.
Look
Grab
at
some Kind
Danny's
bars.
got some completes
Wow.
that he could probably
Completes,
bust
yeah,
out.
I can pull some completes out. There you go.
Oh yeah,
How was the food been
terrible
this year?
mystery
There-
meat that Danny always has got going.
I
on.
saw that there was lobster served one day. So
No way.
Oh, we had lobster rolls. Were you there for lobster rolls, JD?
I was there. I was there
was
for lobster rolls.
fantastic.
I'm back at my cubicle now.
You're now
here.
back at your spot.
I kind of made not the best
Oh.
carrying the laptop around camera. It would have been better if maybe I had like a phone. I could have,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Get a little taste.
Well,
But,
let's just say this: the girl who does the in-house studio stuff or the in-house stuff for Levi's feels very confident right now that you're not coming for her gig. The way you meandered the room, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was doing the best I could. But
Yeah, you're a true reporter. We got this one from Joe Schmo. This is JD and Krug at the holiday party. There you go. Very nice. Powers is very, very unimpressive. Thank you. Well, what can you say?
glamorous gig.
Guys, final thought. Jay Mills says, where does Hensley report from? Not there. It's closer to probably his home. Someone says, is this the KMBR studios? No, that's the 49er media workroom. Jay Mill, look at this. I figured Larry would be in the kitchen. Oh, damn you, Jay Mill. I am not taking that insult kindly. All right. Final thoughts, guys. Good win for the 49ers. We got to see Brock Purdy. He played behind a questionable line. It didn't look great. But we really saw some good things from the Niner linebackers. We saw some good things from Dobbs, good things from Allen, good things from Mordecai.
Cowing.
Jacob Cowing. Yeah. Give me your most positive, give me your the most positive takeaway from, because these preseason games, we could sit there, beat the whole thing up to death. But usually it's more about glimpses of hope. Glimpses of what we're going to get in the future. And I thought Cowing gave us a lot of that on offense. And I thought Jalen Graham and Tatum Bethune and Curtis Robinson really showed well for the Niner linebackers on defense.
Cowing was my guy tonight. I thought
that was
and
mine
not only
too.
The week, not only tonight, but the week that he had in getting back on the practice field off the injury. I mean, to me, he was getting to the point where it was going to be hard to see him making an impact. Maybe this season, certainly the first maybe third of the season or quarter of the season. I think he put himself back in the conversation to maybe be able to be an impactful player at some point in the first half of the season. And it starts with making the roster. And it's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers shake that out, because obviously he's too talented a player to where you would want to cut him. Somebody would most certainly claim him, but then you got to keep him on your 53. And that means somebody else gets cut, and you got to try to bring back some veteran wide receivers on your practice squad. Can you get Trent Taylor or Robbie Chosen or somebody else, on your practice squad? I don't think Chosen would be a problem there, but Trent Taylor may have options. And I think the Niners would prefer that Trent Taylor's an option for them. But maybe not at the expense of Cowing. And so Cowing would be my number one. And it kind of led me to, I think, solidifying himself for the 6th wide receiver spot. tonight. Although who knows what's going to happen with Pearsall, and I'm counting Ayuk in that. So there may be more opportunities for others. But yeah, Cowing would be my number one standout tonight. I think he did the most to help his cause.
A lot of people in the chat are saying Cowing. Being Butterfly says Jacob Cowing, Malik Mustafa, Curtis Robinson are the players I like the most.
Mustafa too. And by the way, Mustafa and his Ronnie. Did you see Mustafa and his Ronnie Lott jersey in the locker room, Krug, or no?
I saw him holding court, and I wanted to go talk to him, but there were so many people there. I'm like, you know what? I'll wait till next time.
Yeah, I was in on the gaggle, and the story goes. So he grew up a Niner fan, and he
really?
Yeah, and
that's cool.
Obviously too young to have seen Ronnie Lott play in person, but has gone back and watched a lot of Ronnie Lott film and like old YouTube videos of Ronnie Lott laying the wood. And so he got the opportunity to meet Ronnie Lott this week. And it was just, he was just thrilled with it and, bought a Ronnie Lott jersey and loves Ronnie Lott and, said he got that back a couple months ago. And so he was rocking it proudly. And guy that's got a nose for the ball. And I think, a couple of good clips on the KMBR socials of Malik Mustafa in that Ronnie Lott jersey. And also I thought it was funny because where his locker is, right?
Next to Trent Williams.
Right next to Trent Williams. And Trent Williams usually has 2 lockers, right?
Right.
So Malik Mustafa's locker is the second Trent Williams locker.
They gave him Trent's second locker?
He's encroaching on Trent?
Yeah, because right now there's 90, right? And then they
set that kid up for the biggest fall.
They cut it down to 69 or whatever with the practice squad. And so then, you clear some guys out of there. And then some of the vets can have more than one locker. Some of the true, the big
Bosa
guys.
and Trent.
And Trent, Trent, he obviously said he hadn't met Trent. But, I'm used to, end of last year, Trent had like the velvet rope, right? He had like one of those.
Trent had like traffic cones.
He had like a gate. He basically had like one of those gates where like you pull the strap up and open.
It was Trent Williams' locker resembled car line at most grammar schools.
Yeah,
it really did. I mean, it was like cones and like directions, and you go by more than 2 times and you get busted for cruising. Yeah, it's it's Trent's the man. Poor Malik Mustafa. He's going to have to get the hell out of there.
He said, yeah, I'm probably getting relocated. That's what he said. He said, yeah, I'm probably getting moved because I took his second locker.
Yeah.
I'm a Niner, but I could be moving here in the locker room. Kev, what stood out to you?
Even though I was kind of harping on the run defense, my standouts were a lot of guys in the defense. I already talked about Curtis Robinson. He had a pass deflection and a quarterback hit. I thought, he just looked stronger and faster than he did last year. Renardo Green, I thought, had a really good coverage play on when he was playing a press man and the wide receivers lined up kind of closer to the lineman, more of like in the slot. And it was a deep out, and he just covered it really well and broke up the ball, had a good pass deflection there. Darrell Luter Jr., who I thought had a couple of bad plays, but then followed it up with some good plays. One where he he'd had like a hit punch and knocked the ball out, didn't allow the catch. And then there were the last play of the game, or the last play of the Saints offensive drive in the fourth quarter. He played good in the end zone and didn't allow a catch there. And then Mustafa, I just think Mustafa is he's gonna make the tackle. Like he's not a big hitter. He's not missing anything. I haven't seen him miss a tackle yet. He's when he's there, he's coming down with you, So
he's got high standards too for his play. You can tell. So Rye, what jumped out at you?
Mustafa. When you say his name, I think of the Lion King, Mufasa.
It's a great name, isn't it? Malik Mustafa. I mean, it's
great name. It's a lot better than Ryan Smith. I'll tell you.
Well, it's kind of like a Dan Coachemilio. Like it sounds like a nasty, mean middle linebacker.
I call him Mufasa.
Dick Butkus, Dan Coachemilio. It sounds tough.
Yeah, we just.
Rye, what stood out to you?
My biggest takeaway, I mean, I've already spin zoned it in my head. Like, I'm kind of happy that Purdy had a little bit of a rough outing, made some poor decisions. In contrast to like Mahomes and the Chiefs running out there and he's throwing backwards passes and it's all great and sunshine and rainbows. I kind of like that there's a little bit of adversity for the Niners to start the season because, I didn't want them rolling into the season flat. So I'm just taking it as like, this is kind of a wake up call for the Niners and for Purdy. And I'm not expecting to see that during the regular season. Also,
Danny, go ahead.
Let Danny go.
Danny, what stood out to you in this preseason game number 2?
Yeah, well, can you give me a little John Facenda introduction for my name? Come on, give me a little Facenda.
The autumn wind is a Coach Emilio.
There we go.
You like that?
Yeah, the autumn. I love that. Yeah, I love
The
John
autumn
Facenda.
wind is a pirate who's all that John Facenda stuff is just awesome.
It's awesome.
I mean, seriously awesome.
Yeah, even though it was all written for him, he just read it, but it was great.
The great John Facenda.
Yeah. I thought, Kev mentioned a couple of guys on defense, and there's a couple of guys that I'm going to mention that they didn't play much, but when they were in there in the first quarter, I liked what Devondre Campbell was doing.
Yeah.
He made a couple of nice tackles.
He did.
And then the tackle of the game, I think, went to Jair Brown. The loss, the
tackle for a loss in the first half.
He's a
monster.
Was sweet. That was nice. So I thought those guys looked pretty good. I do think Luter looked pretty good on a couple of plays on defense. But my takeaway tonight that stood with me. I'm with JD. Cowing looked like a player that the Niners. I haven't seen the Niners have with that electric speed and quickness. And I think he's going to be a guy that's going to make some key third down and short slants over the middle. He's going to find a way open. I think you're going to see him in there in some 3 and 4 set wide receiver sets in key situations this year. I really do.
I think that's a good call. I like Cowing as well. I would say Cowing on offense really was impressive. Obviously, I have already touted Mordecai, but I'm going to go Jalen Graham on defense. Tatum Bethune and Jalen Graham, but Bethune is around the football all the time, which is really exciting because that just means it's just all based on instincts. But Graham, I thought this was his best game. He was flying around. He was making plays. He's so athletic. And it's just, to me, I think Jalen Graham, I thought, who was kind of quiet in this game was D. Winters. This is kind of a quiet game for Winters. And Winters, I think, for the most part, has been getting the love from Warner and others. I think a lot of people feel like Winters is the better of between the two, but I don't know.
He was inactive tonight with a knee.
Was it? Okay, that's why.
So I didn't hear his name. I didn't hear his name once.
I saw him duck out of the side of the locker room after the game. And it seemed kind of early. So I was wondering if he didn't play, if he was in civvies. That's something to watch too.
For him, and then an oblique for Jennings. You guys may have had the Jennings, but those were the 2 injuries.
Those were the 2 injuries. Nothing suffered in the game though, huh?
Nothing in game. Nope.
Yeah, that's good. 2 last supers, and then we'll hit our better sports and we'll hit the road. Bazzi Mian says our entire starting lineup hasn't produced at all together this offseason. Trent, Ayuk, CMC, Feliciano. I think it'll affect us when the season starts. I do. Yeah, I do. I think offensive football is about cohesion, and you do need those reps. And that's why I said I thought it was more important for Ayuk to sign on time than Bosa last year, and I'll stay with it. And even though he hasn't signed, and obviously Trent is the same kind of thing. So offensive football is about cohesion, and you need that. That's why you see vanilla looking stuff early in the year, and you see much more complicated stuff late in the year because they have more time to practice it. And you need reps to practice things. So, the Niners haven't had those reps. So they do have a kind of a soft September schedule. And hopefully they can bank some wins early, despite maybe not playing their best ball. But yeah, I do think it's going to hurt them. Slide 23 says, I heard Kyle pull the fire alarm on Grant. I don't know. I doubt Kyle pulled the fire alarm. All right. This live stream sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups, and you can win real money. Click the link below in the description and download the app below, and make sure you use that promo code Niners, NINERS, to get your first deposit matched up to $250. And Kev has called it up.
Not a good
So
day
why don't
today for you.
This is what we did in the pregame. I went with Spencer Rattler over 69.5 passing yards. That did not hit. I went with Jacob Cowing over 20.5 receiving yards. That did hit. I went with JP Mason over 22.5 rushing yards.
He didn't play, so
he didn't play at all.
So it's like it doesn't exist. It's off
Okay.
yeah.
And then I went with Tay Martin over 26.5 receiving yards, and it didn't happen. So Tay Martin's running out of opportunities. Did I have one more in there?
No,
Or is
that's
it just
all.
4?
That's it.
Yeah, so I only hit one of 4. But once again, the live stream sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. We're happy to have them. Click the link below in the description. Download the app below. Make sure you use that promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $250. JD, when do we catch you next on The Sports Leader? You're in tomorrow for Greg, aren't you? Or for Johnny?
Tomorrow
With
morning. Yeah, 10 to 2. I'm in for Johnny Lund with Greg Papa, and I caught Greg on his way out tonight as I was heading back up from the press conferences, and we were just chatting a little bit about what we're going to chat about tomorrow. A lot of talk about the quarterbacks, a lot of talk about Jacob Cowing, and of course the latest on what's going on or not going on with Brandon Ayuk, who was in the building tonight. He may have been in the room that Larry's in right now.
Brandon, he's right here, actually. I just didn't want to bother him. Hey, Brandon, are you going to sign? Yeah. Sweet.
Wednesday, Tuesday, or Wednesday?
Tuesday? When? What? Yeah. What? He has one.
He said tomorrow during 10 to 2 when you're on.
Love it. Absolutely.
He says he's going to announce it on the NorCal Sports Network.
There we go. Yes.
And only if Eric comes back will he announce it on the NorCal Sports Network. He wants to see the feud end between Eric and Dan. So that's the latest from Ayuk here at Levi's. Rye, what do you got cooking? What are you doing on West Coast Smitty West Coast Smitty on X Rye's a great follow. Are we going to catch you on YouTube? Are you going to be on the tube or the gram, or what do you got cooking?
Yeah, I'm going to get something cooking this year for football. Like I said, I got to start studying. I got to start cramming. My takes are pretty flaccid, as I open this up with.
That's two references to flaccid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the most strongest
two
description
flaccid.
I can think of. Yeah,
Ryan Flaccid Smith.
it's just I like to come with the hard takes.
Is that maybe that could be your new street nickname? We could call you Too Flaccid, and you could be TOO Flaccid or TWO Flaccid.
Now, it'll
like
be like
2
too
chains.
short.
Two chains,
short,
Too
2
Flaccid.
chains, Too Flaccid. There we
Flaccid takes with Rye. I like it. It's
Flaccid
good.
takes. Yeah. That's
Danny, when are you shaving again? I mean, when are you going to be streaming again?
Oh man, I'm streaming every day. In fact, be on tomorrow here. In fact, I want to put the link.
Are you calling up your schedule right now? It looks like you're hitting
I'm
buttons.
trying to put the link in. So if people would go over and sub here, I don't know if it pops up in your chat or just in my chat, but could I put that up there? Does that go on?
I've given my audience
That's
strict
for
instructions never to join your channel.
I think
There
that
you go.
might have just invited people to join the stream.
That was the StreamYard link. Yeah, that's
No, that wasn't the stream, was it?
Oh,
No.
look at you.
No, that was the.
Hey, pop
this
in and
stream.
join Dan tomorrow.
Yeah, seriously.
hoping not, hoping not.
Everybody who joins Dan's channel gets a free lumpia, courtesy
Yeah,
of
free-
Dan's wife.
Wife, yeah, Lumpia.
And that's
Oh, yeah.
not code for anything. Don't get your
Man.
mind out of the gutter, you scumbags.
There you go. There we go. Yeah. No, we're on in the morning at 10 for a short show, and then we do a pregame show now with the Giants. I'm a glutton.
It's
for
more fun to do
punishment.
pregame because there's hope.
Yeah, but even though I always pick I generally pick the other team, but I picked the Giants today, and man, I was 3 for 3. My first 3 picks I almost nailed the scores. Each 3 games, I had nailed it. I started with the Detroit last Sunday.
I can't listen to that crap anymore. All right, that's going to do it for us. No, I'm just joking, Danny.
He's still going.
I'm just joking. I'm just
It
joking.
was fun.
Go ahead, Dan.
I
I'm
get
just
this
joking.
every time. It wouldn't be a 49ers post game if I didn't get ejected from the show.
We're
That's
talking
right.
Giants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Danny
but,
talks Giants. All of a sudden, we go from 2,100 people in the room to
down to
2.1
9.
people in the room.
down to 9. Yeah. It's the same thing with my show. When I talk
Yeah.
Giants, people leave. So
There you go. Go, everybody, join NorCal Sports Network. There's a lot of controversy over there, a lot of heat. Those guys are fighting, they're clawing, they're warring. It's ugly and it's beautiful at the same time. And I feel like I had a little hand in that. And it just, when I see that kind of dysfunction, it makes me happy.
I learned it from Larry.
You did.
But
You did.
I learned. I was taught well.
That's right. All right, that is going to do it for us. It's time for me to go find JD and walk to the car, and then drive probably over the speed limit up 680 to get home. I just got to be honest about things. I'm just honest about things. Rye, do we have a Ringo sighting? It wouldn't be a full stream without a Ringo sighting.
He's cashed out over there.
We got Buster
Danny,
right.
do we have a sighting of your two
Buster's
animals?
Right there. It's just down to one. Faith passed away.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Faith?
Yeah. Faith passed
You
away.
couldn't have
in
told me
April.
before the show, huh?
Yeah. There's little Buster. Oh, Buster's always there. Buster's
All right.
just
Well,
always right.
Buster
around.
doesn't look quite as happy without Faith. I got to
Yeah.
be completely honest about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to do it. Niners get a win. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. We are, Kev, when are we going live next?
You're going live tomorrow morning.
What time?
Damon, 9 o'clock.
That's right. Tomorrow morning with Damon. Check that out. 8:45 tomorrow
9 o'clock.
morning.
9 o'clock tomorrow.
What?
9 o'clock tomorrow.
9 o'clock tomorrow. 9 o'clock tomorrow. We moved it back. So that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Danny. Thanks to Rye. Thanks to JD. Thanks to Kev. Thanks to all of you guys. Niners get the win. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch me tomorrow. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exactly what you asked.